Welcome back, guys. And wait, I fucked it. Oh no, George disappeared. What's going on? A bit like Christian Horner from Red Bull. 1 minute he's there, the next minute he's gone. If she can hear me now, that's pretty bad. Hi guys, and welcome back to another All Things Single Seater podcast. We are here for the first video of 2026 with Jordan. How are we?
Hello, I'm good, ready to kickstart this season. It's been a while since we've done a podcast.
It has been. It was a hot second ago, as Mr. Daniel Ricciardo would say. But how have you been? What did you make of testing?
Interesting. Yeah, I think like comparing to what like teams were saying like last season, like how quick they focused on the 2026 car or how late they focused on it. And I think that somewhat did show in testing. Obviously, one of the two big news stories, Williams, they didn't do all of the testing, and Aston Martin had a lot of problems.
Yeah, I think talking about Williams, I think this is going to be a telling season for James Vowles. As much as I like him, I think he's great. I think, his morals are right and they're spot on, and as a person, he's awesome. But he spent the last 3 years saying, break everything, 26 is going to be our year. And they were late for the first test, and they are very overweight. So I think, do we have to I know there are a lot of team principals that get liked because they're likable. Like Gunther Steiner, for example, for Haas, people liked him because he was controversial and he swore at the cameras and everything. But at the end of the day, he wasn't very good at managing that Haas team.
Yeah.
I'm not saying James Vowles is the same, but I think, is he over his head? It's easy to look good in a team that's already failing, but now you've kind of put your philosophy in. He's got two very good drivers. Are they going to get frustrated? Obviously, we know Sainz signed a 2+2 deal. So at the end of this season, that 2+2 deal, he could then walk away if it's not where he wants it to be. So I think Williams have got a lot of work to do. In my opinion, they have to be best of the rest. And at the moment, I think that's Alpine. Obviously, we don't know everything that goes on in testing. We don't know all the run plans. But Alpine shifted their focus very early to 26 as well. And I think they've done better coming out of the pit straight away. So it's going to be quite interesting. But I do think the times and the order is going to change most races. It's going to be very track dependent. The battery is going to make a big difference. Cars are very different to drive. So yeah, I'm very excited, but also kind of skeptical. I don't want it to be one team running away like it was in 2014.
Yeah.
It's going to be interesting. I think the racing's going to be good though. I do think there's going to be lots of overtakes. I think the cars are obviously lighter, so could be some dive bombs. Could be quite cool. But yeah, I think that's Williams, and I think Alpine have done I was really impressed with them. I thought they were going to be awful, but they've done really well. What's your view on Aston Martin?
I think they're kind of similar to like Williams in the way of like, let's wait till 2026. Obviously they had Nui join last year, and he's been quite open and honest about the 2026 car, that when he got there it was a bit like, right, okay, and kind of like had to start again in a way. So I had a lot of reliability issues. Obviously they're now with Honda, not Mercedes anymore. So I think they've took the biggest gamble going into a new regulation with a new engine. It is a difficult one, considering like Honda they've took a step back, and then now they've had this in testing. It's not a very good start. And I could see Fernando getting the ump quite a bit. I don't think he was overly happy at testing. I think he made that quite obvious as well, which is fair enough. That's not what you want. They've had 3 tests this year because obviously the new regulations, and the one which mattered the most, they performed the worst at. So I think this will be a telling season for them as well. Hopefully they can kind of bring it back, but I don't think they're going to start with a flying start or anything like that. I think it'll be damage control.
Yeah, I hope they have a season like McLaren did in 23, where they started awful and then they bought some updates and then they were fighting, because I think Fernando isn't going to wait around if he doesn't see improvements. He's already said he wants to race in WEC, he wants to race in IMSA. So there are other categories he can go into where he can race flat out. He also wants to do Le Mans with Max, so that'd be pretty cool. But I think it is a shame because I think the car is actually very fast. I think the problem is, so from what people have said, is the engine can't sustain the load going through the car. I don't know if that's fully correct, but it's wobbling or shaking too much, which is impacting the battery, because I think they went through their allocation of batteries, which is why they couldn't run on the final day, because they were out. And I think they're thinking it's to do with the radical car design and the engine not being strong enough or something. So it's causing the car to kind of break as it's driving. But if it's true that they were only running at 70% power in the test, their times aren't actually that bad, if that's true. So I do think the car concept is great, but it's just, I could already see what's going to happen, right? So this is a 2027 prediction. Fernando will get annoyed. Fernando will retire. Now, we know historically Fernando makes really bad career moves. Fernando will retire. Honda will put Yuki Tsunoda in next season. Tsunoda and Stroll will be in a very, very fast car fighting for the championship. That would just be the icing on the cake for Fernando Alonso, wouldn't it?
Yeah. He's always said give it till this year.
Yeah.
Give it till these regs. He'll give it the year, the season, and then he'll decide from there. But I think Aston Martin need to pull something really, really good out their hat. And, if they want to keep him, then, give him a car which is worthy of being on podiums again. Because it was only a couple of years ago they were on podiums. And, I think the first 5-10 races, they was pretty much on the podium every other race or something like that. And then it all just went downhill from there. So they have got it in them, 100%. And Fernando Alonso's still got it in them. There's no doubt about it.
Yeah, definitely a telling period. I think it's going to be really important what upgrades they bring to Australia. It was announced that Honda will be bringing engine upgrades before the first round, and also they're allowed to do engine upgrades throughout the season now. So obviously not all is lost. Realistically, it would be unreal if they turn up to Australia and they were right on the pace. Don't think that's going to be what happens, unfortunately. So yeah, just a bit of a disappointment for them, really. What do we think of Audi? Be very careful, because Nico Hulkenberg races for Audi.
I wouldn't say they were amazing in testing. Obviously, they're not the worst. So they're somewhere in the happy medium, No, they done well. I don't think they really ran into any problems. I don't think. I think if they did, it was 1, maybe 2.
Yeah, I don't think they had big issues. I think they had little niggles.
Yeah.
I think they'll be
Which
okay.
is expected.
Yeah, I think they'll be in the midfield. I think, obviously, again, you don't know what to expect with testing times, but they looked all right. I think the cars suit Hulk quite well. I think Gabby was struggling a little bit because it's such a drastic change in how to drive the cars. But I think they'll be a solid midfield team. I think Alpine will also be a solid midfield team. For Franco Colapinto's sake, after watching Drive to Survive, he needs a good season. I think Flavio might actually kill him at one point if he doesn't. I am quite excited to see all the Argentinian fans now hating Flavio, because obviously Drive to Survive come out and I don't understand how that's an okay place to work at the moment. If you look at, in the episode, it was Jonathan Wheatley and Flavio and their managing differences. And Wheatley just seems like an unbelievable boss. Like comforting, so supportive. And I just loved it. Well, I didn't love it, but when Franco apologized for crashing, I was like, don't say sorry, don't crash. And it's like, oh my God, what's going on? This is his first race with you. Um, I did feel for Doohan as well. Little side step, Doohan got absolutely shafted last year. His pace wasn't even that bad when he got released, you
Yeah.
know. Yeah, not ideal. But back to Audi, I think Audi will be okay. I have no idea about Williams. I don't know about you.
I want them to do well. Like what we've just gone back, like go back to what we said at the beginning. Like they've put such a big deal on this season.
Yeah.
Like you want them to do well, so like they can be like, "See, we told you." But I don't know. I'm not. I think that's the team I'm undecided about.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I'll be so annoyed if they start going backwards again.
Yeah, it'll be. Yeah, I hope they don't. I think they've got the driver lineup to get through it, or at least outdrive the car. I think when Williams was really bad a few years ago, obviously Albon was outdriving that car, and now they've got two drivers that can do that. But I just want them to be up there. I think realistically, McLaren, Ferrari, Mercedes, and Red Bull are the top four, and I really hope it stays that close, like it is those four. Like it's not just one or two teams fighting for victories. But I hope that some of the midfield teams also have those goes where they're getting on the podium and stuff. I think it's just going to be so. Last year was so close because everyone had got the regs nailed down. This year it's going to be like I'm quite tempted to say it might even be similar to 2010. Do you know when the three new teams came in and there was like a really big gap? It was like the top three, then the midfield, then the bottom three, but the gaps was really big between them. That's what I think is there are going to be teams that are like some weekends are just going to be like 2 or 3 seconds off the pace. So it's going to be exciting. There's just a lot of unknowns, isn't there?
Yeah. What a team we haven't mentioned is Cadillac.
So, yes.
What? That's an unknown just in general. Obviously, they've got Perez and Bottas. You know, two very good drivers.
Yeah, two very good drivers. Very, very good. I think last year for Lawson and Tsunoda really showed the world that Perez actually wasn't anywhere near as bad as everyone thought he was. If anything, I think Checo deserves an apology from the F1 world. I think Checo will be better than Valtteri this year. I think they will both be steady. I'm not convinced they're going to score points. I would like them to score points, but I think they're going to be fighting to get out of Q1, and getting out of Q1 will be deemed a very good qualifying result. I think finishing above the top 15, 14 will be deemed a very good race. But yeah, they're here for the long run, aren't they? So I think this first season, as long as they're not awful, as long as they're in the 107% rule, I think that's a good season. So, like for them. But what do you think?
Like knowing that, obviously we've got a new team coming in. I've always said to anyone like, you can't think that a new team's going to come in and score points every weekend. Like, no matter if you've got rookies, experienced drivers, mix of both, two rookies, whatever. You can't just expect them to score points, you know. What is on their side is the experience. You know, the setups for the circuits. Perez and Bottas know what they're talking about, you know. But whether if the whole Cadillac package will work, I don't know. I agree with what you said. If they get out of Q1, I think that's going to be a really good result. You know, some races they might actually score a point due to reliability of others, crashes, you know, weather, whatever. Yeah, I think it's kind of a wait and see. I don't want to be like, oh yeah, they can score points and all that, and then they don't. And, you know, everyone's like, oh, why are they even in F1? That's not what it's about. It's, you know, new team coming in. God, I can't remember when we had 11 teams on the grid. It's been a while.
2016? Was that the last season, man? 10 years. What's your opinion on their livery?
It's a bit boring.
I really liked it. But everyone I've asked that question to has said it's boring and rubbish. I really
I
like it.
don't hate it. I don't hate it. But then also, what do you expect from Cadillac? Like
Yeah,
their logo, everything like that. That is them as an F1 car. You know, it suits them very much, but I think it's kind of going to get lost on track with like blues and you got the orange, well, papaya,
yeah.
and the red of Ferrari, everything like that. And then you've just got a black and white car just, you know, scooting around.
Yeah, it doesn't look very aggressive, or it doesn't look very
No.
like. But I think they're probably looking at it going, we know we're not going to be quick. We don't want to spend all our money on a livery that looks fantastic,
Yeah, yeah,
you
yeah.
know. Um, but yeah, I think it is going to be a telling season for them. I think it's also a little sidestep onto Formula Two. I'm really excited to see Colton Herta. Um, now, again, testing means nothing, but they are in a spec series, so they're all in the same car, just different setups. The first test I saw of Colton, I thought, oh no, because the timings, he was way down. But I think the one they did, was it Barcelona? They did a test recently.
Yeah.
I think, I don't know the exact time. I'll try and get it and put it on the screen now. But I think he was about 2 tenths off the best time and did about 30 laps left, like less than the guy that
Mhm.
got P1. So I'm quite excited for Colton. I think he is going to be in it for 2 years, I reckon. I think they've already said you can't expect him to win on his first year. So I do think he's going to have 2 years in F2 and probably do some practice sessions this year and next year. But it'd be cool to see him if he can get to F1. That would be quite interesting.
Yeah, I think it also brings like a bit of added excitement to F2. Obviously, F2, F3 are very exciting anyway. But to have that such a high regarded driver from IndyCar come to F2, you know, and be like so linked with Cadillac, and they speak so highly of him, which is understandable given his results and everything in the past. It will be good to kind of see like how he goes, and most of these circuits he's not really raced on, so it will be interesting to kind of see how that works as well.
So let's now talk about the best looking livery team, in my opinion. Haas. Their car is beautiful. I'm sorry, it's simplistic, and the GR on the back, it just looks amazing. Where do we think they're going to be? Because I think they've looked all right. They've looked pretty like solid.
Mm-hmm.
So I think they'll probably be in that Alpine category, probably just below the
Yeah.
top guys, but kind of the faster ones of the midfield. Um,
Mm-hmm.
I think this is going to be a very telling season for SC Bestie.
Yep.
He did get beaten by Behrman last year. Komatsu
Yep.
said at the start of testing that he wasn't overly impressed with that fact that he didn't beat Behrman. Um, and there were some races where Ocon was kind of invisible. Now, at the time, I said when they replaced Magnussen with Ocon, I said I felt they'd replaced a like for like. I didn't think they'd replaced Magnussen with a driver that was necessarily better than Magnussen. I
Yeah.
thought they were on the same because Magnussen got a lot of hate in his final year. Like I can't remember where it was. There's like this website of I think it was a Magnussen like tweet on Reddit or something that basically said that if he wasn't asked to hold the field up and to play into Nico's hands, they would have finished on very similar points. So I feel
Yeah.
like his last season kind of overshadowed how good Magnussen actually was. And I don't think if Ocon hadn't won a race for Alpine, he wasn't getting that seat. They were gonna like
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
only
Yeah. Yeah.
reason they gave it to him was because they wanted a race winner in their car. And I just don't know if he is. I'm not saying he's washed, like he's clearly good, but is he the driver they need that is gonna like I feel Behrman's better. And I feel this season Behrman's going to have a much better season than Ocon. So I hope this isn't the end for Ocon. But if he doesn't have a good season, I think he will be out of the sport. That's a
Yeah,
hard
I think
prediction. But
that is, yeah, but I do agree with it. I think a lot of people were very anti Ollie, him coming into the season last year. There was like, why has he got a seat, everything like that. Don't agree with it. And I think he kind of made them eat their words, really. And I love it. I love Ollie as an F1 driver. I think he's class. You know, you just look at him in the feeder series, and you know he done the results which got him there today. So, you know, I think this season for him is just in a bit more consistent. And even though yes, he scored points last season, but you know, try and get into as many threes as possible. You know, scoring points. And trying to stay out of trouble, really.
Ocon runs the risk of history repeating itself with what happened with Magnussen. It'll be a shame. I like him, but obviously the sport moves on very fast, don't they? Like people, you still see it now with people that forget how good some drivers were. Like just sidetracking to IndyCar, the amount of people that slate Romain Grosjean when
Yeah.
in 2012, 2013, and then his early years of Haas, Grosjean was unbelievable. Like he was
Yeah.
matching Kimi Raikkonen. You know, he was beating Kimi Raikkonen. He was getting podiums. Like he was a very good driver. But now, 10 years later, everyone thinks he's obviously time moves on very quickly, and people say
Yeah.
he's rubbish. The new fans thought Sebastian Vettel was rubbish because they only saw him in his Aston
Yeah.
Martin days. And I think, yeah, it just moves very quickly, doesn't it?
I think with Ollie, he's still under Ferrari contract.
Yeah.
You know, Lewis Hamilton, who we've not spoke about Ferrari yet, and we'll probably get to him. You know, he's been quite open and honest about contracts and stuff like that, and he's signed this year, and then I think he's got a +1 if he wants to, but it's not, you know, 100%. You know, Ollie's got a lot more to prove than Ocon. You know, Ollie's got the chance of being at a top team in the next 2 years. So it's kind of hard because Ocon will be pushed to the side for Ollie.
And
You
you
know,
can't go
if
back to Alpine. He's already burnt that bridge. Like,
and it's like this could be Ocon's last team he's with. You know, it's with all these drivers coming up and drivers on the sideline waiting for seats. You know, you've got Fornaroli who's, you know, sat on the sideline waiting. The minute a seat comes available, I'm sure McLaren will kind of push him to go for it. But it's like, I think he knows it's kind of a ticking time bomb.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
So,
I agree. I think there's a lot of people that could take that seat. Speaking of taking seats, Red Bull and VCARB, they like swapping them around, don't they?
our favourite topic.
Now, I might say something controversial here, but it's me
Here we
and I
go.
don't care. Here we go, exactly. Arvid Lindblad.
Yes.
I don't think. Now, I'm happy to be proven wrong. As I was with Guan Yu Zhou, I didn't think Zhou was going to be very good. Obviously, I don't actually think he was average, but still, we'll move on. I don't think Lindblad is going to have a very good year. I think he's going to have an awful year. In my honest opinion, he was very quick in F2, right? Fair enough, but he also got a lot of penalty points. He also took out 3 drivers in one race in Monza. And I think he is a bit of a crash kid. I also think Liam Lawson had a very, very, very good end to last year. And I think a full season for Lawson, I honestly think we're going to see a very different Liam Lawson this year. Depending how good the car is, he will be scoring points if it's there. But I also think Lawson's going to absolutely demolish Lindblad in the head-to-head battle. Over to you.
I agree with Lawson. 100%. His mindset at the minute, I feel like he's like locked in, like, you know, having a great end to the season last year, going into this new season, new regs, kind of a start fresh moment, and he's happy where he is. I think if he's got the car underneath him, he will be scoring points consistently. And obviously, he is the number one driver of that team, no doubt about it. They're not going to name a rookie driver number one. Side note, Liam Lawson can sing.
I know.
If you haven't, if no one's seen it, go over onto his TikTok. I think I watched it for about 10 times.
Mate, I keep messaging him. I want to do a collab, but he's not replied. If you're watching this, Liam, hit me up. Yeah, I'm not doubting that he's quick. He's definitely quick. He did well in the FP1 sessions that he did. Yeah, I'm happy to be proven wrong. Like, I really am. I remember watching the Monza race last year where he obviously was involved in a lot of collisions, and he went for an overtake into turn one. Fair enough, he locked up, but he took out, I can't remember who it was, but he took some out quite badly. And I was just looking at it thinking, oh my God, it's not even been announced yet, but I know this guy is going to be in F1 next year. So yeah, I think, there are definitely better people that could have got that seat, but that's just how the world works. And yeah, I hope he does prove me wrong, but I think he's going to have a slow start to the season for sure. Yeah, I think it's just a load of unknowns, isn't it? I think that's why I'm kind of, you have the idea in your head, don't you, of what drivers are going to do well, and you kind of hit obviously Nico's going to win, and then after that, I don't really care, but I think everyone thinks that. But I think, yeah, it's going to be very interesting. I hope it's kind of like that 2012 season where we had, what was it, like 6 or 7 race winners in the first 7 races. Like, it was pretty cool. Talking about being cool, that Ferrari rear wing with the whole stuff.
Yeah,
that looks sick.
I like it. I don't know if they'll use it in the races though, because didn't they only use it for like an hour in testing?
I don't know. I thought they used it from the second day onwards of the second test.
No, I know on the third day they went back to the other wing.
Okay.
Because I was talking to my brother about it, and he was saying like the amount of time it takes for it to like turn round, is that gonna make them lose downforce?
So,
like, is it actually gonna benefit them?
Yeah. So I think it's track dependent, but I think when it flips, there's a moment. So do you know, obviously the rear wing just opens and closes normally, but when it flips the other way, there's obviously we're talking milliseconds that it takes to close anyway. But there is that brief second where it's up as high as it can be. So you've got more drag slowing the car at that point. So again, I'm not an engineer. I work at an IT help desk, so I have absolutely no idea how this all works. But logically, if it is higher up on that point of braking, briefly, you are going to have technically more stopping power. But because it closes so quickly, how much that's going to make, I don't know. But it looks cool. So for the spectacle.
Yeah, it looks good, but if it's beneficial, something can look great and be absolutely useless. So yeah, but I think that's probably one of the best pre-season testing Ferrari has had in a while. Touchwood.
Yeah, it's just a shame that the car looks shit.
They ask you how you are, you just have to say that you're fine when you're not really fine.
Are you telling me the onboard doesn't look like a Haas because it's so white everywhere?
You like the Haas?
Yeah, but the Haas is meant to be that colour. Ferrari is meant to be red.
I mean, they didn't need to have as much white as they've got.
Do you want to know something cool?
Oh my God, shut up!
DHL, the lorry company?
Yep.
Yeah. That used to be white. That logo used to be white. And then they sponsored Jordan. And Eddie Jordan said, yeah, but you're changing your livery, your logo to yellow to match the car. And they've kept it that colour since. Why couldn't Ferrari do that with HP? I just find it like it doesn't have to be that much white. Like we get it. HP is the title sponsor. There's a big blue HP on the car. Don't like take over everything.
I think they've done it like if they just stick the HP right smack bang in the middle of the red, it's going to look weird. So I understand why they've done the white, but I don't know. Felt like they could have kind of slowly introduced it rather than just having like a block colour. Like go from like kind of red to slowly lighter and then the white, like, and bring it towards like the back of the car rather than just having it where the driver sits. Like they've just poured white paint and gone, get out of there.
The colour of red that they've used this year is actually really nice. And I just wish it was more of that.
Yeah.
You know? Especially I think on the onboards, because I do think on the onboards of Lewis and Charles, it just doesn't look like a Ferrari.
I do think it looks like, ignore the white, I think it looks mean.
Let's have a look.
Like the part where I don't think you'll be able to see it from like the back bit of their car.
Oh yeah, that looks good. Yeah.
Kind of like the zigzags.
Mm.
I saw it and I thought, oh, you know what? Like it does look a bit mean. Like it looks like a contender.
It doesn't look awful. Like, okay, I may have overreacted a little bit. I don't ever do that, so.
Yeah.
It doesn't look awful, but I think, yeah, you know, I just hope it's good for Lewis. I do think Lewis is going to have a much better season. I don't think he's going to necessarily win the championship, but I do think he's going to win a race this year, at least one, maybe Australia, when we get to the predictions. You want him to win the title, don't you, this year?
I feel like we've got the old Lewis Hamilton back from when he won the championships with Mercedes on the bounce. I feel like he is, for some reason, on another level. I feel like he's happy, for one. You know, I think last year did kind of put a dampener on things for him. You know, joining Ferrari, like he said, is every kid's dream, really. To say that you're a Ferrari F1 driver, you know. I think because he wasn't getting the results he wanted, or the team wanted, he was very harsh on himself. So I feel like it's pushed him, and not just Lewis. I think Charles is in a really good headspace as well.
He just got married. And remember, like 4 years ago, when he said, "No girlfriends till I win the World Drivers' Championship." Well, that went well, didn't it, Charles?
Yeah, but now he's got a wife, so maybe he'll actually win it.
That's true. She might like get his head going the right way. Do you think we could have another Nico Lewis situation at Mercedes, because Antonelli is going to keep getting better and better and better, and we know how hard George can race when he wants to. Those battles with Max were phenomenal. I feel like the Mercedes will collide this year.
There is a lot of hype around George Russell right now. He is the bookies' favourite to win the World Championship, which I don't know if that stemmed from testing or God knows. But having Antonelli as your teammate, you know, he done very well last year, considering, you know, first season. I feel like Antonelli is going to push George this year. If George doesn't win like the first 3-4 races, whatever, Antonelli will be pushing him. Obviously, you said George is quite a harsh driver sometimes, you know. I think they could collide. I think they could.
Yeah, I think they're going to be fastest. I think there's obviously a lot of talk about that engine being very good. I think there's a lot of games going on at the moment, though. I mean, the first lap in testing, I think, was a 34 on the first day, and then they got down to like a 31, was it?
I think so, yeah.
Like, even at that point, if you watched the onboards for all of the fastest laps that happened, none of them are going flat out the entire lap. And I know obviously they're saying you have to lift and coast to save the battery at times, but I don't believe I don't believe it to the extent that they did it. Like, But I guess time was how when we see the cars in anger for the first time. But I think there's probably another second or two in all of the cars from the times we saw. It's gonna be quite cool. It's gonna be really interesting. Obviously, Australia is a completely different track. It's just gonna be interesting to see if cars do run out of battery on the straight. Because are we gonna have loads of like cars going over the top of cars because the overspeed is too much and all of that shit? Like, could
Yeah.
happen.
I think there's a lot of unknowns.
So, qualifying.
Yes.
I'm gonna go. P5 is going to be Charles Leclerc. P4 is going to be. Oh wait, there's not enough drivers for what I want to do. P4 is going to be Oscar Piastri.
Okay.
P3, Sir Lewis Hamilton.
Yeah.
P2, Kimi Bantinelli is going to get a front row lockout with Mr. George Russell. And I said I didn't think they were going to get a Q1. So my biggest flop, I think, is going to be Colapinto. I think he's going to be behind Gasly by 0.6 of a second. I'd say that's not a good result for him. And surprise, I'm going to say this is backed by facts and not backed by my love of Nico Hulkenberg. But I'm going to do this actually. He is going to qualify best of the rest. So outside of the top 4 teams, he will qualify best of the rest. Now,
Yeah.
before I go any further with that, I'm going to say, obviously qualifying isn't always his strong point, but I think regulations will make a big difference with that. But if we look at his racing record, okay, now, yes, this might be a bit nerdy, but I don't care. So, Australia for Nico Hulkenberg in his entire career, he has finished. So he's had a 6th place, a 7th 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 place, a 9th place, and a 7th place. So he's very good at Australia.
Yeah.
So I think he's going to have a good race. I don't necessarily think that means Audi are going to be best of the rest, but I think he's going to have a good weekend.
Right. Top 5 for qualifying. I also can't believe you haven't put Max in your top 5.
That's what I was saying when I was like, there's not enough drivers for the spots I want to fill.
Yeah. Oh, you've got potential 4 teams at the top, and it's, that's 8 drivers. And then you could have like a surprise like Alpine. Yeah, Gasly, for example. No, I know. I was going to mention that next, and then I thought you'd be like, oh, well, he's not going to do very well. But yeah, I hate doing predictions for like the first 3 races because you never know like what could happen. So I'm going to go. It's going to be so weird. P5 Gasly.
All right, I'll back it.
P4.
If you say Bottas, I'm going to leave this call.
No, I was going to say Ocon. P4. I'm going to say Norris. Oh, there's too many drivers to pick from. P3 Leclerc.
Where's Max?
P2 Hamilton.
Are you going
And then pole, I think, is going to be Piastri.
Oh.
I haven't gone for any Mercs.
No. Or Max.
I've obviously put Gasly and both McLarens, and they've got Mercedes engines, but I just feel like something's going to happen with the Mercs.
I love doing the first round of predictions because I'm rubbish.
I hate it. You love it.
Yeah, and it's like that's my excuse. So, okay, so for the race, Gasly's a very good shout from you. I'd love to see a bit of Gasly 2021 back. He was so good that year. Okay, so top 5 for the race. I'm going to go P5. I am going to go. Nico Hulkenberg. P4 Leclerc. P3 Hamilton. P2 Piastri. P1 Russell.
Okay.
Piastri's just flown in out of nowhere. Oh, this is hard, man. Obviously, we're going to watch practice and realise that these are so off the cuff and out of, like, we're going to have to change our predictions after practice.
I'm going to do...
Did you write mine down, by the way? Because I forgot what I said.
No, I've not written any of them down.
Okay, I'll watch it back.
I'll just swing it. I'm doing P5 for Verstappen, P4 Antonelli. I've got 4 names in my head and I'm like, I've got 3 spots left. P3, I'm going Leclerc.
Okay.
P2, Russell, and P1, Hamilton.
Oh, all right.
Yeah, I'm doing it. I'm dropping it in there.
That's decent, that. Well, I say that's decent. It could be rubbish, but it also could be pretty close. I'd like to think we're close with some of these predictions. I do fear my Hulkenberg one might be a little bit far-fetched, but we move.